I know her nickname is Rev B to a lot of people because she's familiar and friendly and able to be sort of with all kinds of folks and talk about all kinds of subjects. So quick little introduction if you have not met Rev B before. She is an ordained minister with both Spiritual Living and Unity Worldwide. Since 1996, she's been speaking and coaching to people and hoping to encourage people to live in joy. She's inspired people to create new careers, fulfilling relationships, experience greater fulfillment in life with freedom and peace of mind. She is the founder and spiritual director of the Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake. She's written several books and is preparing to publish her first children's book. So welcome, 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 Rev B. We're happy to have you here. I'll shut down my slides and let you take over the screen. We're looking forward to your talk.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, I'll tell you, that woman sounds interesting. I think I'll be her. Oh my goodness. Having a good laugh is always a good way to start anything. So I'm delighted to be here. Every time I get the opportunity to be here, I'm always super happy. So today the talk is inspired by the book Power versus Force by David Hawkins. And David Hawkins has just such an interesting viewpoint on consciousness, and it is exactly what we teach, consciousness. So in the book, Power versus Force, he writes, humans think that we live by virtue of the force we can control, but in fact, we are governed by power from unrevealed sources, power over which we have no control. And that's sort of an important part of what we're going to discuss today is control or no control. So power is always associated with that which supports the significance of life itself, where force creates counterforce. Its effect is to polarize rather than unify. So polarization always implies conflict, and its cost, therefore, is always high. So when we're thinking about power, we're thinking about how things come to us from that deep internal divine self, right? There's something inside of us that is so connected with the universe that, well, it's one with the universe, right? So because of that, we have the ability to know that which cannot actually be seen, touched, or felt. And we call that faith. But really, there's a knowing because we're part of all of it. So when we're coming from a place of power, we're actually coming from a more authentic and true place. When we're coming from force, we're creating division. So force would imply manipulation, exerting power over, which, some people do, but of course it's not very effective, rather than coming from the power that's within. So today, I just wanted to touch base a little bit on that internal power and what is required to actually live from there. And to live from there, we have to kind of become settled with who we are. And I love the quote about world peace. World peace doesn't happen because everybody lays down their guns. World peace happens when I, as an individual, become peaceful with my life and my journey, regardless of how it looks. World peace happens when I can breathe life into each moment and accept it as it is, where it is, knowing that by being present, something more will come in the moments yet to be. So peace is a state of consciousness and requires each one of us to participate. So I love that because, of course, September, we have, the International Peace Day, and there's lots of events I'm sure going to be planned around that. Unity Worldwide Ministries has their Day of Prayer, which is coming up September 13, 14. And so when we start thinking about these ways of being, consciousness, a high level of consciousness, is really about the idea of love first and foremost. And I'm not talking about an emotion. I'm talking about the energy of connection, of oneness. So love is the unifying force of everything. And so when we come from that place, of course, our consciousness is at a very high level. And from there, it can accelerate. It also impacts everything around us. So we're taking a look at life from a new vantage point. Can I be present with what is? I recently learned about reverse meditation, and I'm in the process of reading about it, so I can't share much about it, except it really is about accepting what is. And I think part of the journey of living in a place of power is getting comfortable with all of it. So we begin by giving up some of the things we do very automatically. This is good, that is bad, this is right, this is wrong. And we all do this. We all look at the world and judge it or criticize it based on our perception of reality, what we believe to be true, how we've been raised, the belief system that we hold, which we call morality or whatever. We believe that that is the right way to live. Now, all of us, we know, have little different signposts as to what we believe is right and wrong and good and bad. So who's correct? Who's got the right one? Who's got the truth? Well, none of us, because our truth is not necessarily the same truth as somebody else's. Truth, capital T, truth is that universal oneness. That is truth. So when we're looking at power, of course, it comes from that. It is a force of creation. It's a way of bringing together. It is a high consciousness. It is the ability to be with what is, regardless of circumstance, knowing that all of it is neutral until I put a judgment upon it. When we go back, even if we take a look at the book of Genesis, where it talks about God tells Adam, whatever you name a thing, that's what it'll be for you. How many times have we heard ourselves say, oh, this is hard. Oh, this is so hard. Oh, this is so difficult. Oh my gosh, this is such a challenge. Whatever we name a thing, that's what it's going to be for us, right? What we've learned here in Unity is that the words we use have power, and yet we use them like they're throwaways. I am sick, I am tired, I am frustrated, I am, oh, I am. Two most powerful words in the English language, I am that I am. I am the invocation of that divine inner power, and we're using it in a way that is negative, destructive, and we wonder why our life looks the way that it does. Because instead of using that power, we're using force. We're describing the world in a way that fits with the belief system we have been raised in, what we've come to believe in, rather than going to the very essence of our being and checking in to see what it is that is ready to be revealed. We're trusting what's already been created rather than that which is to come. So it's time to shift the way we look at the world, to shift our consciousness, to begin to elevate our own way of being by giving up the ways in which we judge and criticize ourselves and the world around us. And I'll tell you, this is an undertaking. This is a big undertaking to come from this place of inspiration rather than, oh, I know what you're thinking. Of course, we don't. But there's something inside of us that wants to control and to manipulate. And when we come to an understanding that that which we are striving to cause to be the way we want it to be, that in and of itself is the use of force. Use of power comes from that place of a deep dive within and allowing the inspiration of the universe to come up through us and to be revealed, even in a way that seems unrealistic or impossible, or it can't be. That I don't know how to do that. You ever say that? I don't know how to do that. Well, if you knew how to do it, you'd probably already have done it. The fact that you don't know how to do it means it's God's to do, not yours. And so we surrender into that place of going, oh, okay, so now what? And when we ask those now what questions, we get more inspiration. And as the inspiration comes and we follow it, it takes us to places that are really remarkable. Doesn't mean we'll never have a bump in the road. It just means we might navigate it differently. So when I came into ministry, I did so. It was a calling. It was the universe going, here's what you have to do. Now, at the moment that I had that inspiration, I was actually in a very fundamentalist church that did not allow women to be ministers. So I was like, okay, God, don't really get this, but all right, whatever I need to do. But in time, I left that because it didn't line up with the epiphany that I'd had. The moment of knowing this universal oneness, knowing that the energy of life is actually love. It's a unifying, bringing together force for good. And what I was learning in the church that I was affiliated with at that moment was division. And so I knew that couldn't be the right place. And eventually I found the Centers for Spiritual Living. What's interesting is that when I came to Toronto, I came here to start a New Thought church. I felt called to do that for a long time until it finally happened. I came here with $40 in my pocket, a one-way plane ticket to Hamilton, because WestJet didn't yet fly into Toronto, and a desire to start a center here. Well, I never lived on the street, skipped a few meals along the way, but somehow everything that was needed, everything that was necessary showed up in exactly the right and perfect time. And here I am today, 23 years later, still doing what I do, still having fun doing it, and still discovering new possibilities moment by moment, including the desire to stop judging. Now, I'm not there yet. I don't know about you, but that idea of judging what's going on, you know, we look at what's happening in Ukraine and we have a judgment about that. We look at what's happening with the forest fires and we have a judgment about that. And we have all kinds of them. And what we're striving to do to elevate our consciousness is to recognize that everything that we see in the manifest world has already been created. Can't change what's already done. However, by living in a place of infinite presence and power, by being in that place of divine love, what happens is I begin to hear what's possible, what could be created next, what the next moment could bring. But the only way to go there is to let go of the judgment, the criticism. And I loved in that song, Open Up, where she talked about, you know, being who you really are. Like open up to that true self. We think we're mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, minister, you know, board president, whatever, right? We've got all these labels that we think we are. And we're none of those things. We're none of those things. What we are is an energy force with infinite potential and possibility. We have the ability, when we give up our need for control, which we actually don't have any anyway, but when we give up our need for that and surrender into that place of possibility, what happens is truly, truly miraculous. And it happens effortlessly. It happens easily, quickly, remarkably, and it feels like a miracle. But it isn't. It's just the natural way that things work. So one of my favorite sayings years ago was, oh, this is so hard. Oh, that is so hard. Oh, work is so hard. Everything was so hard. And guess what? It was. It was really hard. And one day I woke up and I went, oh, I've been teaching people that words have power. Huh. Funny thing that. Oh, I wonder if I changed the four-letter word hard for the four-letter word easy, if maybe things might look different. And so I began to very consciously shift that. So every time I was going to say, oh, this is so hard, I would interrupt myself and go, oh, no, it's actually really easy. And what happened was slowly, okay, this wasn't a quick fix. It took me a while to remember, but slowly I began to perceive the world in a little bit different way. I began to see the potential of letting go, of surrendering into what is and doing my best not to judge it. I'm not quite there yet. There are things that I'm still judgmental about. And so when I catch myself, I have to take a breath and just do a little prayer and go, that's not serving. It's not serving humanity. It's not serving you. Like lowering your consciousness is not going to take us to world peace. That's for darn sure. However, elevating it may. So there's that game that we play that we come to realize none of us have arrived. We're not ascended masters. If we were, we probably wouldn't be here right now. The thing is, we're on a journey, and the journey has no destination. The journey is about being present moment by moment in life itself, not making it go away or be different, but rather to be with each experience, to live from the fullness of that experience and see that all of it is bringing us closer and closer to that infinite harmony, that place of true self-expression where we find our real authentic self and are able to give that into the world. See, each one of us is created unique and special. Each one of us is some part of this incredible, intelligent universe. And we're all here by divine appointment. No mistakes, no accidents. And how easy or hard life is irrelevant. It's a series of experiences, and they're always moving. And they're always in harmony with everything else around us. And how we think about things impacts that harmony. So when we're in a place of judgment and criticism, force, what we're doing is we're interrupting that natural flow. We are putting our willpower in, and willpower and will are different. So we're pushing, we're forcing, we're coming from our ego perspective of I know it all to a place of surrender. And I caught myself this morning, sort of using my willpower to try and help somebody else. Dumb thing to do. That was a self-criticism, so we'll let that go. What I came to realize is in my desire to help someone, I actually overstepped. So it's about reframing and going, wait a minute, I can't help anyone. The only person I can help is me. The only life I have any control of is mine. The only place I can create peace on earth is within me. The only way I can see a world that is loving and harmonious and peaceful and beautiful is to see it from my perspective. I have to align myself with the idea of peace. And I remember a story that Greg Braden shared in one of his books, and he talked about going on a long hike with an Indigenous friend of his, and they were going to go and pray for rain because there hadn't been enough rain. And so they take this long hike and they come to this circle of stones, and his friend steps in the middle of it. And then he's there for, a minute or so, and then steps out and says, okay, let's go have breakfast. And Greg's like, well, I thought we were going to pray for rain. And his friend goes, no. If we pray for rain, it means we don't have it, and we won't. He said, I felt the mud between my toes and the water pouring over my body. He said, I brought in the ancestors and I prayed rain, not for it, but prayed rain. In our lives today, what we want to do is begin to pray love, pray peace, begin to acknowledge that I am that which I seek, that by being, as Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. You want a world that's compassionate, be that with yourself and others. You're looking for world peace, be that peace, moment by moment. And in the moment that somebody distresses you the most, take a pause, take a breath, and stop. Be that peace. Take that breath. Quiet the mind. All suffering comes from the way we think about the world. We think it's hard or difficult or broken or flawed. It needs fixing. If we think that, we get to be right. But the moment we let that go and choose to see the world from a place of possibility and wholeness and beauty and grace, that's the world we begin to live in. So I want to invite you to really think about power and force. Power unifies and force divides. So in every moment, just ask, just check in. Am I unifying or am I dividing? And without judgment, just notice where you are. And then if you so choose, correct the path to what it is you would prefer. Power versus force. Simply consciousness. The way I think produces one or the other. So taking a deep breath, let us go into a little meditation here. Just taking these words and letting them kind of land somehow. I want you to just breathe into this moment. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes. Allow your body to relax a little bit. And just be in the energy of oneness. And what does that mean? A place of acceptance. Accepting ourselves where we are as we are. With every error and judgment and every moment of grace. And noticing the places of conflict, of division. And without judgment or criticism or reservation or hesitation, just seeing that too as a moment of awareness, a point of possibility. And choosing to surrender into that divine essence that is all powerful, all knowing, and everywhere present equally. And breathing life into that, knowing that each one of us is created unique and special, perfect, whole, and complete. Allow that to be your self-talk. I am that I am. I am love. Say that to yourself. I am love. I am peace. I am joy. I am the I am. I am the I am. I am the I am. And feeling a deep sense of peacefulness. Anchoring the idea that each one of us is created perfect, whole, and complete. Any message contrary to that was a misperception by someone else. And so let us return to the idea that I am the I am. And taking a deep breath in and just returning to this time and space. Thank you.